Ayun. Ano ba to? Live na tayo. We're live in YouTube. Okay, good afternoon everyone. In a few minutes, we are about to begin for how to adopt BIM for quantity surveying profession. Tama ba tong ano to?
Ayan, tama na.
Okay. So in a few minutes, we are about to begin. Feel free to invite our fellow BIMers. If you think this live stream or this topic is beneficial to someone you know, please invite them to join us. Okay, so in
Right
addition,
live in YouTube.
okay, good afternoon everyone. In a few minutes, we are about to begin for how to adopt.
Hi, good afternoon po. Ayos po. Can you see my screen now po? Wala. Ayan sir, nakikita niyo na po yung okey. Sir, hula lang yun sir. Unplanned po yung pagiging civil engineer ko. So, parang, out of the blue, ayun na lang po yung pinili kong, course when I was in college. So, very unplanned po yung pagiging civil engineer sir. Hi everyone. So once again, my name is Jade Marcorete, and I'm going to introduce you our software, which is BIM based quantity surveyor software. So for now, ang discuss lang is about Takeoff for architectural and structural. But actually, we have three softwares. We also have Takeoff for rebar quantity, and we also have Thunder series for bill of quantities. So all of these softwares are very beneficial to quantity surveyors. So kung may kakilala kayong quantity surveyors, which is in quantity surveying field, let them know and let them join that seminar and training as well. Okay, so just a little bit introduction about our company. So we are Glodon, digital building industry platform service provider. So we were founded in 1998 and successfully listed in SME board in 2010. And our focus is in AEC industry. So just like that naman ang software na represent dito, right? Um, our focus is in architectural, engineering, and construction industry. Okay, so our dream at startup, ito yun, we allow the budgeters to get rid of calculators and become outstanding construction cost provider in China. Kasi in these present times, we use calculators in quantity surveying, right? Most of the companies in the Philippines actually, or all over the world, are using calculators or traditional way in calculating the quantities of the elements of a building, let's say. But our software can handle these elements, and later on I'll show you how our software will calculate these quantities in just several seconds. Okay, so our new dream is to make every construction project successful and become outstanding digital building platform service provider in the world. So I think now we're now building this project and now we're reaching our dreams. Okay, so here are some of the history and milestones. It is founded in 1998. Okay, it established its first international subsidiary company in Singapore in 2011. So dumating na siya sa Pilipinas in 2016 through the companies A&E Equinix Support and Quantity Solutions. And in 2019 then, we had this strategy agreement between London Philippines and Construction Industry Authority of the Philippines, or DTI. So we are recognized by the Philippine government as well. Okay, so kung makita nyo, we have the global footprint here of the London. So we reach every part of the world. Okay, from US, um, from Europe, and most of the countries are in Asia. So these are some of the case studies that na nagawa na namin using Cubicos. So mainly yung mga projects sa China actually, all of them use Cubicos for their quantity takeoff. So makikita nyo rin dito na most of kahit yung mga complex structures, we can cater that, we can handle that. Okay, so in Philippines, these are the clients that we have from different construction companies. We have from consultant, from developer, from main contractor, and from subcontractor. Kung makita nyo dito, or kung familiar kayo in the Philippine construction, okay, for Mincon, our client is EEI, DATEM, MDC, and so on. For developer, we have SunTrust also, and all of these big companies. Okay, so this is the Cubicos in Philippines. We conduct on-site training to every companies who contact us. Okay, we are very hands-on sa pagbibigay ng training sa mga client namin. Okay, so Golden Philippine Social Responsibility. So this is the strategic coordination between the CIAB or DTI and the Golden Company Limited. So we also provide CPT event. So last year, meron kaming pinundok na CPT event at AM Center noong July 2019 for QS professionals. Okay, so we are the only recognized by government as digital construction platform provider in the Philippines. So ito makita niyo yung pag-visit ng mga big names sa construction industry sa Pilipinas. Also sa China. And also, we had President Duterte as representative as well. Kung makita niyo sa picture. Okay, so we also conduct BIMQS competition. So if you want to join, just contact me. But for last year yung first Philippine BIM competition namin. And includes 300 QS participants from different countries all over the Philippines. Okay, so for now, nagko-conduct din kami ng mga training para sa second Philippines BIM QS competition. So if you guys are interested, you can just contact me or leave a message to me if you want to join. So in May 6th, or in Friday and Saturday, this coming week, this coming Friday and Saturday, we will conduct a 2-day basic training for our software here. So for now, kasi ang gagawin ko lang is just like product demonstration. But on Friday and Saturday, if you want to join, we'll give you the in-depth training for our software. Okay, so this is the training outline. Okay, introduce ko lang muna yung TAS. Okay. TAS is a suite of quantity calculation software based on BIM technology. It has been localized and embedded with SMM to suit Philippine construction industry. Kasi sa mga, for your information, in different countries, we have different standard method of measurement. So, nagbabati siya in different countries. But in 2015 or 2016, 35 product specialists came to the Philippines to know the standard method of measurement of the Philippines na ginagamit natin dito, and they embed that into the software. Okay, including the deductions, the overlappings, and so on. So, pag gumamit kayo ng software na to, in quantity survey, in quantity takeoff, you don't have to think of the adjustments anymore. You don't have to think of the deductions and so on because the software is going to do it for you. Mamaya ipapakita ko paano ginagawa yun ng software. Also, our software can sinabi mo na we both measure architecture and structure works. We use 3D modeling as a baseline to accommodate changes in results, 3D modeling, BQ linking, drawing addendums, etc. And after that, for example, nagawa na natin yung model, we can automatically generate reports or BQ from model. Okay, this is for TRB. So sa other software namin, we also have TRB and also TD2. So guys, if you join our 2 days basic training, you will get a training certificate which is recognized globally then because Golden is globally recognized then in quantity surveying profession. So if you join our 2 day seminar, we will give you an evaluation exam, and if you pass the evaluation exam, you will receive this certificate. Okay. So we have 4 levels: so basic level, intermediate level, proficient level, and expert level. And in each level, we have different skill requirements and the process on how to get the certificate. Okay. So if you join our training, just provide valid and active email. So these are the items to take note bago tayo mag-model sa ating software. Okay, for the drawing sources, we can import IFC, CAD, PDF, and JPEG files. So pwede natin siyang import sa software and we can do the model from these drawing sources. Also, we need to take note of the full layout plan and elevation plan, say the structural versus architectural, because these informations, kailangan natin itong i-input sa software para makapag-model tayo ng ayos. Next one, availability of drawing details. Okay, next one, general note and details. For the general note, kailangan din natin ng concrete read ng mga concrete because it will affect the quantity. Okay, categorization of items, also the material used. Next one, this is for TRB, the type of river used. And if there are special requirements in our elements, we need to take note of that. Okay. So that is for the introduction about our software. So guys, do you have any questions? Maybe I can proceed now to our software. Okay. So this is the interface of Cubicos TAS. So ito yung mga recent projects na ginawa. But if you want to create new project, just click here. Okay. So in creating a new project, just change the name of this one to the project name. Let's say training. So ito yung special feature ng software namin na wala sa ibang software, which is the calculation rules. We can select which calculation rules you want. Okay. But for the Philippines, we have the Philippine standard method of measurement. Okay. And the ground elevation, you can find it in the drawing. Okay, let's just set it to 0 first. So I'll just show you how to create the project. Then click OK. Okay, so the software will initialize and then mamaya i-redirect na tayo natin sa drawing area. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is to create the project. Okay, so this is the process. Create new project, adjust the measurement tool and the ground elevation, which is I showed you earlier. Okay, so in creating the new project, let's just click the new and then enter the project name. Okay, and then set the ground elevation. So let's look kung gumagana na yung kung initialize na. Okay, it's lagging. Sorry guys. Oh, hold on. I will just open it again. Okay, let me just open the software again. So these are three products. We have the TAS, TRB, and TBK. Okay, so let me just create the new project. Sorry about this one. Medyo naghahang yung PC ko, but okay, let's try to open. Let's try to create the new project. So for our software, we can create the structural and architectural here. Then after that, we can import or we can, yes, we can import this model into our other software which is TRB. Then after that, sa TRB naman, pwede natin ilagay yung mga rebars. So this one kasi is for architecture and structural lang. Then we have another software for the rebar, which is this one, the TRB. Okay, so sorry about this one. Kanina pa kasi naka-open yung PC ko. Maybe that's why. Oh, shit. Actually, sir, yung um, uh, for the basic, sir, we have 4 GB. And for example, we have 8 GB, and for big projects, we require 16 GB of random access memory. And
Afternoon. How are you, everyone? My name is Frank. So actually, I'm not sure what happened to Jim Mark his laptop. So that's why I just came in. Okay, so maybe I can share my screen. Is it okay? Okay. So you can see my screen right now. Now, so okay, we see how I can uh how I will share my screen to everyone. I need to click something or oh, screen sharing. Yes, I see it. Okay, as well, I will share my. Uh, okay, is it good now? Okay, okay. So this is the interface for our software. Okay, I'm really sorry. I'm not sure what happened to Jim's laptop, but actually it's very easy to use. Okay, so this is the interface for our software, which is called TS. It's a BIM Takeoff for architecture and structure. So I will create a new project. I will name it like maybe a demo or a May for. And here, like because every country for the quantity takeoff have the different calculation rule. So here I will use just like the Philippines calculation rule. It's a Philippines standard method of the measurement of building works. Okay. So and here for the ground elevation, you can just choose anyone just based on your own project information. Okay, so for the software, we have three the main advantage. The first one is we are the only one have introduced the Philippines calculation rule in the software. And the second one is auto identify. We can directly identify the 2D drawings into 3D. And the third one is after we get the BM model, it will be very easy for us to get the quantity information. Okay, so may I confirm again, you can see my screen. Okay, it's good. So firstly, I will show you about our measurement settings and measurement rules. For the measurement settings here, so every entity based on the Philippines uh, PHSMM, Philippine Standard Method of the Measurement. So every entity, the measurement settings are inserted in the software. And as well, you can also customize the measurement settings. Okay. And as well for the measurement rules, like if we have the overlapping of the column or the beam or the slide. For example, we have the overlapping between the beam and the slide. So how we will do the deduction? If we using like the designing software, maybe like the Revit or something. So if we have the overlapping, and here the software will automatically to help you to do the deduction. And you see if the beam have the overlapping with the slide, it's gonna deduct from the beam, but we have the no effect from the slide. As well for the other entity will be the same. So here I would like to introduce you about the calculation rule. It's the whole book for the Philippines calculation rule is the Philippines standard method of the measurement for the quantity takeoff. So all the data, all the information, all the rules are inserted into the software already. Okay. And again, I will just go back to the project settings. So maybe your project type, maybe it's residential or factory or office building. I just choose the residential building. And foundation type, maybe brick, concrete, frame structure, or whatever. Everything is based on your own project information. Also, for the strap foundation and for the floor setting, we can insert floor, we can delete floor, And for the floor head, we can just use like 4 meters or just any floor head, the information based on our project information. As well for the concrete grade, the category grade for the PSI, the formwork, you can use the default one, or you can customize. Right? Okay, again, I will go to the interface. I will go to the interface. Here, just insert of the drawings. We support the CAD drawing, the PDF, the JPEG, the FC, and the Revit. So I will give you this CAD file as an example. Okay, firstly, I will give you the ground floor. We will split these drawings and right click the drawings name here, click and okay. So the first advantage for the software for the TAS cubicles is the Philippines calculation rule is inside the software. Second is auto identify, right? Okay, so this is ground floor, and firstly you can see it here is under identify. I will pick the axis and right click, pick the label and right click and auto identify. So the axis auto identify for you. And then we can go to the column the same way. Pick the column sideline. We can identify by the layer or by the color of selected. So here we just identify by the layer and right click, pick the label, right click, and auto identify. So here you see like on this ground floor, 34 columns totally identified. And immediately we can have the 3D view for all the column on the ground floor. Okay, and for the quantity surveying profession, the quantity is very important, right? So here I will calculate. Just 1 second, and we will view quantity by category. So we can also customize our quantity report. And okay. So here is our quantity report for the column we just identified, including the volume, the area formwork, and the weight of the rebar. You see? And we can export to Excel as well, right? So again, we can go to the BIM in the same way. Also identify and pick the BIM sideline. Right click, pick the label, right click, and auto identify. So you see here, all the BIM are auto identified as well. Okay, because in the scenario in the Philippines, maybe some companies they can get the CAD drawing. Some companies they can get the vector PDF or the scan PDF. So for PDF, the first way you have to scale the drawings for the scan PDF or vector PDF. But if the scan PDF the quality is not very high, so if it is not very supportive for auto-identify, we can also create an entity. So maybe I will just use the slide view as an example. Okay, first I will create a new slab. And this is the slab one, the thickness is 175, right? Okay. And another one is a S2. The thickness is 150. 150. Okay. So also we create this entity. We also just click. This is S1. Click. This is S2. Click, click, click. click, 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 and you can have the 3D view for the slab, the beam, and the column. Right. Okay. And then I will go continue to the architecture the same way. Just use this architecture as well for you as an example. So I will also give you the ground floor as an example. Split the drawings and click name, click. So using the software, the most function you use, just click identify. And this is the ground floor, right? So I will relocate this drawing to here, to this point. Okay. So I will give you continue to the wall, right? So we can also create this entity. I will give you this wall as an example. So I will create a new wall. And we can also measurement the distance for the wall. So from this point to this point, okay, it's 150. So I will the thickness is 150, and the material is a glass wall or is a curtain wall or something. As well for this one will be the same way. The thickness is 150. And the material is concrete or brick, block, stone. So we just use the brick wall, right? Okay, and then we will use the wall, use this create the wall on the drawings and change the direction. Okay, here the same way, and also go here to this point. To here, and for this wall the same way. Okay, and the wall created already. Right. Okay, and we go back here. You see, like we have the doors and the window, right? Also, if we have the Darwin schedule on the drawings or on the Excel, we can also do the auto identify for you. So we go here. We have the Darwin table here, right? So I will go to identify and identify the Darwin schedule. So I just drag this area and right click. So in this area, 6 doors and 1 window auto identify with their data information and identify. So 6 doors, 1 window auto identify, okay. And then we can go back here. So this is the door 2 and door 2, right? So just because the door auto identified already, and we will go here. You see? The door and auto identify. Again, this is the room. We can also go to the finish. So the room name is kitchen. I will create a new room, and the name is kitchen. And we can create the finish here. So we have floor finish. We can create a horizontal floor finish, the waterproof, and the skirting, and the wall finish, right? And we just click. You see here, the finish created already on the BIM model. And one more function is really very interesting and very popular in the Philippines is the material texture. So maybe for the residential building or for the hotel, so we can customize the finish. You can use the textures in the software already, or you can just add the new texture for the finish. And you can just draw the finish picture on your module. So maybe we use stone combine as example, right? Yeah, Slab. So you see the wall finish is drawn with the stone combine. So in this way, it will be very easy for you when you give the module to your developer or to your clients. This module is very attractive. Right. Okay. And we can continue to the quantity calculate. You see just 1 second. And we can view quantity by category. You see here, for the column, we have already just customized your quantity report, right? For the beam, you can also customize your quantity report. Also for the door, for the slab, floor finish, every entity, you can just customize your quantity report, right? Okay, so when we go for the quantity survey, when we got the data for the quantity, if you have any confusion, this is a function for the BIM model. You can check back. So here I will give you an example. Maybe I will use this beam as example. Here we have the function for view expression. See here, so the expression, like how we calculate the result are all shown here. You see the volume is what is the expression, how we get the quantity. So this is the original for this beam, and we will deduct with the overlapping, deduct. Also for the area formwork, original one, deduct. Right, this is for the beam, and we can also continue to the slab. Maybe I will choose this slab as example, right? Also, view expression. So you can see the volume of this slab. They're gonna deduct the volume of the overlapping beam. So this is part of the Philippines SMM calculation rule. And also you can view the 3D deduction as well. This is the original one, and we're going to deduct with overlapping the slab, deduct the beam from the volume, deduct. Also for the area, the same way, original quantity, deduct. So this is if you have any confusion for the quantity, you can check back, because all the calculation rule are all based in the Philippine standard method of the measurement calculation rule. You can use the default one. If you don't want to use the default one, you can also customize for the calculation rule. But from our experience in Philippines for 5 years, for the software, we suggest like you can use the default calculation rule for the calculation. Yeah, and also from the report, you can also export the report into the Excel. Export to Excel, and it will have the function to link up the BQ. Later I will show you. So because we are the BIM software for quantity surveying, we not only support for the 2D drawings, we also support IFC and Revit. So let me check. So when we doing the TS, we call it like the TIO with the Revit takeoff function. Takeoff, intelligent, and one step. So because like we have the Philippines calculation rule in the software, right? So we're gonna select the Revit file to import and to do the calculate. And we can support the Revit format from 2013 to Revit 2020. Okay, this is like the first step. We import the Revit file. And the software can find out which entity are overlapping in Revit. And we can process this overlapping entity in the software. So maybe we have the overlapping in the Revit, so the software can automatically to solve the overlapping and do the calculation to get the information correctly. So we have three processes for the check the overlapping entity. The first one is auto process. Second one is manual process. And third one is force calculate. The auto process, like you can use the default calculation in the software. And the difference in quantity between the auto process and the force calculate by using our module, you can see here for the difference. Also, the difference between the auto process and the force calculate. And also, we can not only for read, we can also do the edit. And the module can export to our the Takeoff full rebar, the software, the TRB software. Here we can select the classification by using Revit information. So we can read the classification like wall, slab. So if we have the Revit changes, we can also to do the comparison for the difference. Okay. So any questions so far? I'd like to check whether J Mark is back.
I'm already here. Sorry about that.
Okay.
I've been using my PC since 4 a.m. That's why I haven't shut it down yet. Okay.
Okay. Actually, I'm from China, but I'm working based in Makati, Levis district. But in March, I go back to China, and I'm waiting for the time I can go back to Philippines to go back to Manila. Maybe I think this month or next month. I hope I can go back. Yeah, but I'm very sorry. Like I just dressed like this one because I don't think because it's an emergency.
Thank you, Frank, for saving.
It's okay.
Okay. Uh, Okay, so Frank a while ago showed the auto identification way, right? So in our software, we can do auto identification and manual identification. But since it depends on the drawing actually. For example, we have a good layer of CAD file, we can automatically identify elements separately. But for example, we're using PDF file or JPEG files which doesn't have good layering, so hindi hiwa-hiwalay yung layer nila. So we cannot use auto identification because for example, in-auto-identify natin yung column, baka yung wall as ma-identified, auto-identified din as column, right? So, in those cases na hindi tayo makakagamit ng CAD file, we can do manual as well. Okay, so this is the interface of our software. So at the top, we have here the function tab, project settings. This one, this is already discussed today from right, the first settings and so on. So it depends on the drawing that we have or the project information that we have. This one for the grade settings, makikita to sa general notes, the complete grade, the complete category, the forward type, and so on. For the still ratio, this is just rough calculation. So if you have any information for the still ratio, you can edit this one. You just double click, and that's it. You can change this now. Okay. Say for example, we're going to do this project. Okay. Nag-open ako ng architectural file to see the elevation. Okay. So makikita dito meron tayong ground floor level, first floor level, and roof level, right? So, for example, we're going to adjust that in the floor settings. Meron tayong floor settings, and I will just modify this based on the drawing that we have. Okay, so let me just minimize this one. Okay, so the default is we have first floor, we have ground floor and first floor, but we have another floor here. As you can see, we have the roof level. So we have to add another floor. So we can do that in our software by just clicking on this row and then type insert floor. Okay, so under the floor name, I can just change this to roof floor. Sorry about that. Roof floor. Okay, for the floor height, okay, based on the drawing that we have, okay, from ground floor to the first floor, we have 4,000 or 4 meters. So, kung nakikita niyo dito sa software, it is in meters. So, we have to convert everything in meter as well. So, for example, dito is 4,000. We need to input 4 meter here. It's the ground floor. Okay. for the first floor, we have 4,000. First floor to roof level, we have 4,000. 4 meters. Okay, so for the bottom elevation, okay, nakikita rin siya dito sa drawing natin. Okay, let's just, this one, 83.4. So let's adjust then the bottom elevation to 83.4. Okay, for number of typical floors, it depends on the project details that we have. For example, meron tayong first floor to 15th floor na magkakapareho ng typical lang siya. So we can input here the number of typical floors. So depending on the project talaga. But since we're looking at this drawing here, which is only one typical floor, okay, let's just do one first. Okay, and all the information here you can change as well. So, take note of this guys because it will affect the quantity later on. Pag may hindi tayo na bagong concrete grade dito sa may grade settings, it will affect the quantity later on. Okay, meron din tayo at the side, we have the zoning. Because for example, you're working on a big project or we have 6 towers. Okay, so we can add zones here para ma-differentiate yung quantity per zones. Kasi di ba minsan, we separate it by bills or by zones. So we can add zone here para ma-separate yung mga quantities and so on. Tapos, at the function tab, meron din tayong BIM model. So the main function of this one is for the interoperability of this software to another software. So we can import Revit file as well. So for example, meron tayong Revit model, we can actually import this model into our software and the software will automatically generate quantity for those models. Okay? So we have here also the Revit changes. For example, meron tayong mga changes may revision sa Revit. So hindi na natin siya kailangan import ulit. We can just use Revit changes to determine kung ano yung mga changes from the revised one and the original Revit model. Okay, so meron din tayo dito import model and export model. So this one, ginagamit to sa TRB, which is this one. Okay, as I said a while ago, this one is for takeoff for architecture and structural lang. But what if we're doing the same project, pero kailangan ng bakal? Okay, so we can export the model, yung model na ginawa natin dito, to our software, and then later on, pwede natin gawin dito yung reverb quantity. Okay, so that is the function of import model and export model. Um, this is interchangeable. For example, una yung ginawa sa TRB, we can import it to TAS. So, and vice versa, pwede din ganun. Okay. So under the identifier, we have here the drawing manager, okay, and other functions for the auto identification. Yung pinakita nga ni Sir Frank kanina, which is pick sideline, pick label, and auto identify. So that is one of the strength of our software. Okay, draw. This is where you manually draw the entity or the element. For example, as I said a while ago, wala tayong good layer ng CAD file. So the only option that we have is to input the element one by one. So we have this draw function. But this is very, very user friendly and very easy to use. So even though you have CAD file, you have a PDF file or JPEG file, you can do the elements very easily. Okay, we have the view quantity. We have the view function wherein you can just see the 3D view and so on. If, for example, we have 20 floors of building, you can just choose this one all first to view the whole building. Okay. We also have the quantity here, the measurement settings and measurement rules. As Sir Frank shared a while ago that this is only applicable to our software. We only have these features, which is that we embedded the Philippine standard method of measurement into our software. So you don't have to think of the deductions, the calculations anymore because the software is gonna do it for you. Okay. So for the manual ways, okay, let's say gagawa tayo ng column. Okay, we have here the element navigation bar. So all of these elements can be created inside our 3D model. So we have the column, wall, door window opening, beam, slab, and so on and so forth. For example, gagawa tayo ng column. Okay, just click this one column. Okay, just click this one column and under the element list, okay, pag kinalik ko to, okay, drop down, if I click the drop down here, we have a lot of shapes to choose from. We have the rectangular column, round column, irregular column, and parametric column. Okay, so for example, I want to do this specific column here, C1. Okay, so I will just refer back to the column detail that I have. Okay, so this is the revised column detail. Okay,
Okay.
for
Very
C1, the
nice. Okay.
dimension is 400, the width is 450, and the height is 200, and also the C1 is rectangular. So, in creating C1, just click this one, the drop down, and then create rectangular column. Okay, so after creating the NFT, so mag-appear siya dito, we have the column 1. We can adjust the information at the attribute editor. Okay, so for example, for the name, this should be C1, right? So I will rename this one to C1. Okay, for the material, okay, you can choose whether what the material of this concrete is. For example, plate is the siya, brick or stone. Okay, you can choose the material here. For the section width, okay, from the detail that we have, this should be 450, and the height should be 200. Okay, so makikita nyo, nakagawa na tayo ng column dito. And what we need to do is just to place it inside the drawing area. But for that, we'll just look at the other attribute here. For the concrete grade, ito yung sinit natin kanina sa floor settings, if you can recall. Okay, sa floor settings kanina, meron tayong concrete grade, right? Okay, babalik lang ako saglit. Okay, for the column, we have this one. So, yung default niya is 4,500. If I change this one, mababago din yung sa model natin. But there are some instances na hindi lahat ng column pare-pareho ng concrete grade, right? For example, in the specific floor, merong mas mataas yung concrete grade, merong mas mababa yung concrete grade. In those cases, we can change the concrete grade here. So if we click this drop down, we have a lot of concrete grades from. Again, this is based on Philippine Standard Method of Measurement. That's why everything is in PSI. Okay, for the form work type, we can also choose the form work type here. Okay, then the category, you can change the frame column and whatever, and so on. But for this one, sa mga binabangang information dito, the one that will affect the quantity is the concrete grade and the section width and section height. Okay. For the display style, you can also change the color depending on your preference. But let's just leave this one first. It's this color. Purple muna siya. Okay. So for example, modify na natin everything under the attribute editor. Okay, the next thing that we're going to do is go to draw. And under the draw function tab, we have here the draw ribbon, as you can see on my screen. So for example, I want to place the color in this specific location here. I'll just go to point. Okay, and then I can choose I can choose the insertion point. For example, hindi siya nag-stop sa gitna, like this one. So we can place there in the column, right? So we can click F4 on our keyboard. Okay, as you see, pag click F4, nag-change siya ng insertion point. So if I set in the corner, magkakaroon siya ng snap dito. So I can now place this column into this area. Okay, so right click to cancel any commands. For example, tapos na yung C1, so just right click. Then that's it. Okay, so we have another shape here, which is C5. So for example, I want to create another column. I want to create this C5 entity here. Okay, so same process. Babalik lang ako sa my element list. Just press this one column. And then under the element list, I will choose round column because this is round column, right? I will choose round column. And then in the attribute editor, I will just rename this one. This should be C5. Okay, the radius. Okay, let's go back to the detail of the drawing that we have. C5 is 150. The radius is 150. Okay, so input here, the radius should be 150. Okay, then after that, you can adjust the grade and so on. Then just go to draw and we have here the point function. So click on that one. Then after that, you can now directly paste it into our drawing or in the drawing area. So just click F4 to set the insertion point. Hanapin lang kung saan siya mag-start. But usually in the corner, it starts in the corner. Okay, then that's it. We also have a lot of functions here sa draw. For example, meron din tayong copy function. For example, I want to copy this C1 to another column here na may same lang ng dimension. For example, if you look at the schedule, C1 and C10 is just the same size, right? So I can just copy this C1 into the C10. Okay, so I will click on this element first or entity first, and then I will press Control C on my keyboard. Okay. So pag nag-highlight siya ng blue at may nag-snap na, meaning you can now copy this um, entity here. And also, if we're modeling, don't forget to look at the hint at the bottom because the software will ask you what's the next, or the software will tell you what's the next thing to do. Okay? So, kiklik ko lang tong corner na to so that I can copy this into the C10. Then, okay. So, we have now created the C10 here. So, for example, hanapin natin siya from C1, right? So, the name of this one is not C1, it's C10. So, para baguhin yung name niya, just click this entity here and then adjust the name to C10. And automatically, mag-appear na siya sa element list. Okay, may C10 na tayong nagawa. Okay, we also have this parametric column like C14 here. Okay, for this one, you have to measure the distances one by one. Then, under the element list, meron din tayong parametric column dito. So, if you want to create this specific column, we can choose this one, parametric column. Okay, so we have a lot of shapes to choose from, but the suitable one for C14 is this one, right? This LD. Then, if you click on this one, the LD, okay, sa attribute, meron tayong attribute editor dito. We have the A, B, C, D. And if you look at the image preview at the bottom, this is the corresponding distance for A, B, C, D. So in order to get the dimension of this one, babalik lang tayo ulit sa may column details. Okay. Say this one, we need to measure it one by one. Okay. Pero pwede mo natin siya i-measure directly into our software. So meron tayo measure distance function dito. Okay, so just click this one, measure distance. And we can trace the quantity, we can trace the length of this one. This is 200. This is 250. This is 250. And this is 200. This should be 200. Okay, so meron tayong 200, 250, 50, and 200. So if I'm going to create parametric column, okay, so i-adjust ko lang yung A to 200, B to 250, C should be 250 as well, and the third should be 200. And then after that, after modifying everything in the attribute editor, you can just click OK. Okay, and you can now place this entity here. Okay, just click F4. Don't forget to click F4 to set the insertion point. So if you click F4, nagbabago yung insertion point niya, and then after that, you can just find where this entity stops at this point. Okay, so that is the manual way of creating the column. Okay, so again, I'm gonna show you how the software. Okay, if you look at the 3D view, okay, just use these functions if you want to look at the 3D view. Okay. Later on, papakita natin yung mga overlapping sa may entities. And then papakita rin natin yung quantities with those overlapping entities. Okay. So for this one, for example, nagawa ko na lahat and I want to, and we have a good CAD layer naman, and I want to do the auto-identification. Iuulitin ko lang yung sinabi ni Frank kanina ng auto-identification. Okay, so it is under this one, identify. Okay, so we have 3 steps in auto-identifying. We have the peak sideline, as you can see on my screen. We have the peak sideline, peak label, then auto-identify. So in just 3 steps, all these columns, this specific floor will be auto-identified with the software in just several seconds. Okay, so let's just pick sideline. Say this one. So kahit anong column yung piliin nyo, basta magkakapareho sila ng layer, automatically it will be detected by the software. Okay, pick label. Pick label. Then after that, auto-identify. Okay, so pag tinignan nyo isa-isa, or you can check one by one kung ano yung mga columns na na-identify, you can check it in here. So you don't have to point the column one by one anymore if you have a good CAD layer. So that's the magic of the software. It will automatically identify all these columns for you. So it saves a lot of time. It's very efficient. Uh, unlike the traditional way wherein you have to determine the dimension of the columns one by one, then compute for the volume for the area of formwork. Then after that, you input that into the Excel, right? And for example, nagkamali ng formula sa Excel, you have to do it again. So this is very efficient and very easy and very friendly user. So that is for the column. So kanina rin na-try na-discuss din yung um, generation ng quantity, right? So under quantity, we have here the calculate function. So before extracting the quantities of everything, you have to calculate first. Okay, just click calculate or press F9 on your keyboard. Okay, so this window will pop up say or asking which floor to calculate. So for this one, sa ground floor pa lang naman tayo gumagawa ng um, elements, right? So yung ground floor nandun yung ma-identify niya. Okay. So we have here the view expression, view quantity by category, and view quantity function. So say view expression, it will show you the detailed calculation of the software. Okay, for example, I will click this one, view expression, and I will select specific entity here. Sabihin natin itong round column. Okay. So makikita dito, sa window na to, meron tayong volume, the detailed calculation for volume. Also the calculation formula, pinapakita din niya. The area of formwork, the weight of rebar, and the weight of rebar. This is just for the rough quantity or rough estimation na nilagay natin sa may rebar information kanina or sa may steel ratio kanina. Okay. And then after that, we have view quantity by category function as well. So if I click on this one, view quantity by category, okay, say select ground floor. Okay. So I can set the classification and quantity I want. For example, gusto kong makita yung mga name ng column. I can just uh, tick this one. Then I can do customization such as I can move this up para mapakita na sa unahan siya. Okay, so sa element quantity naman, I can untick some of the quantities here. For example, hindi ko naman kailangan ng weight of rebar, hindi ko kailangan ng girth, hindi ko kailangan ng number, and so on. So just click OK, and then every customization that you do will be reflected in this report. Okay, so ayun, kanina pinakita na kanina we adjusted by name, right? So in the report, ito yung nauuna, yung name, kung paano natin siya sinet. For example, ito naman, for example, meron tayong may nakita kang quantity na sobrang laki like this one, 1.64, and you're suspicious about this quantity. Baka mali ng pag-identify yung software about this one. We have this reversely check model function sa baba, this one, reversely check model function. So if I click this one, reversely check model, okay, so the software will guide me or will relocate me to where this quantity came from. So this C31, so you can check this one. So for example, tama naman siya and there's no modification that is needed. You can just click this one return. Okay, so for example, you have already done checking all the quantities and you're sure now about the quantities being generated by our software. You can export this to Excel. So we have an export to Excel function here. Okay, just click OK. And then the software will provide you this report na sinet natin kanina sa may classification and quantity. Okay, so that is for the column. Later on, ipapakita ko yung mga 3D deduction. Okay. Let me just do the axis first. I forgot to do the axis. So yung axis kailangan siya because, for example, we are modeling the software. We are modeling the software right from the upper bottom elevation to the top. Okay? So we want our drawings to be aligned. Kaya meron tayong axis. Kaya ginagawa natin yung axis. Para pag nirelocate natin yung drawing natin, align siya from bottom to the top. Okay, so that is for the column. I will proceed now to beams. Okay, same process then we have manual way and auto identification way. For example, I will show you first on how to create the beam in manual way. Okay. So in the element navigation bar, okay. So everything that we do here is from left to right. Okay, so just click on beam and then may mga drop down dito. Just select which appropriate beam that you want. For example, this is the right one, the beam. Okay, just click this one. I-delete ko lang lahat ng to kasi na-auto rin. Okay. We have the beam here. So under the element list, if you click this drop-down function, meron tayong rectangular beam, irregular beam, and parametric beam. So depending on the shape of the beam. Okay. So for example, ang i-create natin is GH1, which has a dimension of 150 by 450. Okay. And this is rectangular. Okay. Under the element list, just create rectangular beam. And then under name, you can change this one to GH1. Then same in column. For example, this is a precast concrete. You can change this depending on the material. Para later on, when you do the extraction of reports, in view quantity by category, so may hiwalay siya na ito in situ concrete, ito precast concrete. So we need to adjust everything in here as well. Okay, so the concrete grade, also it is in the default na nandun sa project settings kanina. The formwork type, we can set this as well. Okay. Then after that, after modifying everything in the attribute editor, okay, under draw, we have a lot of functions on how to draw this specific beam. We have line, we have by rectangle, and we have by 3-point arc. Say we're going to draw this beam, okay, I will use the line function first. Okay, so I will just select the corner, then automatically okay, so we need to adjust the dimension pala. So I forgot to adjust the dimension, but for this one, we have 150 by 450. So let's change this one to 150 by 450. So I'm going to use the line function. Okay, click ko lang muna dito, and then I will draw up to the end of the span. So kung mapapansin niyo, meron tayong intersection between the column and the beam, right? So it doesn't matter because the software will automatically deduct this intersection for you, the quantity for the intersection. Okay. So for example, I'm going to do GB8. I'm just going to create new element. Under the element is I will just create new rectangular beam, and I will rename this to GB8. I will modify the section width and section height, say 200 by 600. Okay, and then after that, I can use line. Meron din tayong rectangular function pala. For example, pare-pareho lang yung details on 4 sides. You can use rectangle function. Okay, I will show you how it works. So, yan, automatic mag-provide ng rectangular area for this column. Meron tayong 3-point arcs. Say, for example, meron tayong mga arc beam. Okay, we can do this as well. Okay, this is just for example. And we also have by CAD line. So it will automatically detect the CAD line and then provide beam for that. For example, I will use by CAD line. Okay, as you can see, automatic na nade-detect ng software na merong beam dito basing on the CAD line that we basing on the by CAD line function that we use. So let's say gagawa ako using line. Okay. So I can just place it in the middle because again, the intersection, you don't have to worry about that because the software will automatically deduct these intersections for you. So I will just draw this GV8 all throughout the span. Okay, then right click to cancel any commands. Okay. So that is for the auto identification. For the manual way pala, manual way of creating the beam. So if you want to try the auto identification, so let me just delete all the beams first. I-delete ko lang muna lahat. Okay. And also under the element list, i-delete ko para pag nag-auto-identify tayo, hindi magkaroon ng conflict. Okay, so auto-identification function, lagi siyang makikita dito sa identify. Okay, under identify, we have pick sideline, pick label, and auto-identify function. So I'm going to pick the sideline of this. I'm going to pick the sideline. So we have entity selection mode. We can pre-select, we can select by layer or select by color. If we select by color, all of the layer of this specific beam in the drawing will be selected. Say for this one. And make sure na na-pick natin lahat, just like this one. May part na hindi na-pick. Okay, maybe magkaiba siya ng layer. Then, after that, right-click to confirm. So, pag ni-right-click natin, automatic mawawala na siya dito sa original layer because lahat ng pinik natin ay mapupunta na sa pick layer. So under the layer manager, we have this original layer and pick layer. So if I uncheck this one and I check the pick layer, ito yung layer ng beams natin. Kanina, pinik natin yung columns, right? So makikita din siya dyan. Okay, so that's the first step, pick the sideline. And next one, we have to pick the label of the beam. Okay, so pick the label of the beam, then right click to confirm. Then the last thing that we're going to do is auto-identify. Okay, if I click auto-identify, okay, so the software will ask me or will confirm to me if na-draw ko na ba yung columns and walls. Because dun magsusupport yung mga beams, right? So, kanina nagawa na natin yung mga columns. So, I can just click okay. We can just click yes. Okay, and then the software will automatically generate these beams for you instantly. So, in just several seconds, lahat ng beam na auto-identify din ng software. Okay. So that is for the auto identification of the beams. Okay, okay. Restore ko lang ulit because I deleted the column when I deleted the beam. Hold on. Okay. So we have now this column and beam entity here. So for example, typical lang yung floor or for example, yung columns natin dito is just the same with other column or which is the same with other floor. Say pareho lang siya sa may foundation. Usually ganun sa ground floor, pareho lang yung size and dimension papuntang ground floor. Okay, meron tayong copy by floor function dito. Okay, under draw meron tayong copy by floor function. So, let's say copy by floor and choose to the other floor. For example, i-copy natin yung ground floor papuntang foundation floor. We can use this function copy by floor. Okay, just copy by floor and then just this one to other floor. And then always read the hint at the bottom. Okay, select entity in the current floor of the current zone. Right click to confirm. For example, I want to select all the columns. I want to select all the columns to the foundation floor. Idadrag select ko lang everything. And then, makikita nyo na na-highlight na siya ng blue, meaning it's already selected. And then, right-click to confirm. Okay, so this window will pop up asking which floor I want to copy this columns, say ground floor, foundation floor. Okay, then click OK. Then this prompt will pop out, entity copy succeeded. So, for example, I go to foundation floor. Ito, automatic na copy na rin yung mga columns natin from the ground floor. So if you're going to change floor by floor, dito siya makikita. For example, I want to go to the first floor and model the elements on the first floor, i-shift ko lang siya dito. So sa part na to, wala tayong column, right? Kasi hindi pa natin nagagawa yung column. So for example, I want to view if nakopy talaga siya by floor, meron tayong all floors function dito. So ito 3D ko lang siya. And then, I will click the beam. So, ito yung beam natin sa ground floor, right? Ito yung beam natin sa ground floor. Ito yung column natin sa ground floor. So, ito naman yung column natin sa my foundation floor. So, meaning, nakapin na natin from ground floor to the foundation floor. Okay, so that is for the beam. Okay, meron din tayong for slab. Okay. So, at the element navigation bar, we have in situ slab. So I will just click this one in situ slab, and then under the element list, I will create in situ slab. Okay, so I will just click this one, and then under the attribute editor, modify the information here, such as the name. For example, gagawin natin itong span na to, S1. Okay. I'll just rename this to S1. Then the category, you can choose what category of slab here. But this is just, I will repeat again, this is just for the information or the summary report of the slab. However, it won't affect the quantity. Okay, the thickness, it will affect the quantity because for slab, we're generating the quantity by column, right? Okay, so I will just change this one to 175. Okay. Then after modifying all the information in the attribute editor, we just need to go to draw the slab. Okay, so meron tayong functions na point, line, rectangle, and 3-point arc. For example, the area is enclosed with beam and columns. We can just directly point it into this one. Okay, I'll show you how. I'll just point this into this part. Then automatically the software will place or generate slab in this area here. So makikita nyo na yung extent ng slab ay nasa middle ng column ng beams, right? So don't worry about that because again, the software is going to deduct these quantities na pumasok sa beam, okay, depending on the rules that we have here. So for this one, ang mag-govern is yung beams. So later on, makikita nyo na pag in-extract natin yung quantity ng slab, meron siyang deductions for the overlapping in the beams. Okay, so for example, meron tayong S2. Okay, just click new element and insert to slab and I will rename this one to S2. Again, for the thickness, I need to change this to 150. Okay. Then, for example, gusto nyo baguhin yung color depending on the thickness, you can do that as well. Okay, for example, I want this to be color green. I'll just point since this isn't close, I can just directly point the slab at this area. For example, the area is not enclosed and you have to provide slab in that area. You can use line function to draw the extent of the slab, and you can use 3-point arc. You can use 3-point arc. For example, it is curved. The extent is curved. You can use this one. Okay, say I'm going. So, for example, itong S2 na nagkaroon siya on 3 spans, right? You can just directly click on this one and then extend or yes, set this creep up to the end or up to this part. Okay, so we can also do that. So that is for the manual way of doing the slab into our software. Okay, and just like the other elements, we can also do that in auto identification way. So let me just delete these two slabs here and under the element list. Let me just delete this as well. Okay. So under identify, we have the peak label, peak opening sideline, peak opening line, and then identify slab. So hindi natin pinipick yung sideline nung slab because the software is going to provide slab sa mga enclosures ng beam. So for example, na-detect niya na may label na enclosed tong part na to, the software will automatically generate slab dito. So you don't have to pick po the sideline of the slab anymore. So first step, we're going to pick the label. So I will just click on this one, pick label, and then choose the label of the slab. Then right click to confirm. Okay, pick slab opening line. If there are any openings in the slab, you can choose this one, pick slab opening line. But since we don't have any openings, you can just skip this process or skip this step and then identify slab. So if I click identify slab, okay, these slab identifications will pop up. Tulad ng sinabi ko kanina, ito yung mga support options. For example, meron tayong plain beam, non-plain beam, concrete wall. All of this magpo-provide ng slab ang ating software. So just click OK. Okay, so these are the identified slab. If we check one by one, meron tayong S1, 175. This is correct. S2, 150. This is correct. And S3, we have 125. So the software will automatically read the label and provide thickness for that. For other cases na wala tayong, for example, this one, wala siyang label, right? So the software will provide this unlabeled slab with a thickness of 120. Okay? Just click OK. Then automatically, yung lahat ng spans ng mga beams natin magkakaroon na ng slab. So, kanina napansin niyo yung unlabeled slab natin, this one, is the thickness is 120. So, lahat ng information for the default of the thickness ng mga unlabeled, nandito siya sa may identification options. Okay, so pag tignan natin yung identification options, makikita natin dito yung different options or value or attribute for the identified elements. For example, dito sa slab, makikita nyo meron tayong slab code which is S. Yung slab code natin is S, right? S1. So automatically na-read siya ng software as slab because of the label which is S1. And then under the slab setting, this one, default thickness of identified undimensioned slab, which is 120. So yung mga walang label na slab, automatically nilagyan ng software ng 120 na thickness. So you can modify everything in here as well. For example, meron kayong mga walang label and alam niyo naman yung thickness, right? You can just change this one para pag in-auto-identify ng software, ma-identify yung thickness na input nyo. Okay, so that is for the slab. So, for example, nakagawa na tayo ng column, beam, and slab, right? And if we want to extract the quantities, okay, we need to calculate it first. So, under quantity, we have the calculate function. Okay, calculate, then select which floor, say ground floor, then click OK. Okay, so in just 1 second, all of the elements that we created a while ago have already been calculated by the software. So meron tayong three options dito or three functions. We have view expression, view quantity by category, and view quantity. Say I want to view the detailed calculation of each element or this calculation formula of each element, pupunta lang ako dito sa view expression. Okay, so if I click on this one, view expression, and then for example, gusto kong malaman kung paano kinompute ng software yung slab na to. Kiklik ko lang siya. And then makikita niyo dito yung calculation or yung detailed quantity expression for each element. So for the volume, we have here the length, the width times the thickness. This is the basic way on how to compute the volume of slab, right? Then we have the deductions here, deduct column and deduct beam. Okay, so automatically na-deduct yung column dito and yung mga beams na nakapaligid sa kanya. Okay, also for the area or for the area of formwork, meron din tayo dito. So the software will automatically generate these quantities for you. But what if you want to check where these deductions came from? So, okay, at the side, meron tayong two arrows dito, right? Two triangles. Just click on that one. Okay, if I click this one, meron tayong 3D deduction. Okay, so i-click ko lang yung 3D deduction. And then, papakita ng software yung mga deductions dito. So, this is the original quantity. Okay. So, for example, meron papakita dito, deduct column from volume. So, if I click this one, ito, papakita niya kung saan galing yung deduction ng column. So, this is from the deductions of beam. So, pag kinilik ko tong mga to, ipapakita niya kung saan galing yung deductions ng beamers. So, the calculation of this software is very transparent. You can check it one by one. So, and all the calculations and all the quantities are very accurate because it is a smart software and um, it is based on the Philippine standard method of measurement. Okay, so for example, tapos yun ang ma-check if that's okay. Ay, may share lang akong isa, this one. For example, I want to determine the quantity of the beam. So, pupunta lang ako sa beam. And then, click F11 on your keyboard. Okay. So, sa mga detailed calculations kasi, for example, meron tayong overlapping between, okay, sa mga area of formwork, meron tayong deductions from beam volume as well, and the column, and for the slab din.
Yan, sir, our on live
Okay. So, for example, this one, sa mga detailed calculation kasi, this side, kinocompute nila ng height to height yung um, formwork ng beams. But for example, may intersection ng slab and beams, ng slab at beam dito, automatically i-deduct yung um, formwork sa intersection part. So ipapakita rin ng mga beams kung nasaan yung mga deductions na yon. Okay, so you can check it here one by one as well. Okay, this one. May deduction ng area of formwork sa part na to. So that's how detailed the calculation is of the software. So for example, tapos na nating ma-check yung quantity one by one or we are very confident about the quantities. We can now view the quantity by category and we can export these quantities into the Excel. Okay, so just go here, view quantity by category and select which floor. Say we're going to select the ground floor, click OK. So lahat ng ginawa nating elements mag-appear siya dito. The column, the beam, the in situ slab, and so on. Okay, so again, you can set the classification and quantity depending on your preference. For example, I want to include the name and so on. I just move it up. Then marami tayong element quantity dito. All of this is based on PSMM. Sometimes hinihiwalay talaga, for example, this one, the starting high and so on. Okay. So for example, you want to exclude some quantities here na hindi naman kailangan. You can also do that as well. Okay. For example, naset na natin siya. Just click OK. And then magkakaroon tayo dito ng, okay, I just include the name first. Detailed report based on the classification and quantity na sinet natin. And again, if you want to check the quantity, you can go back by clicking this one, reverse the check model. For example, meron tayong mga unnamed beam, right? This one. And gusto nating malaman kung saan galing tong unnamed beam na to. And you want to check where this unnamed beam came from. You just reverse the check model, click on the quantity first, and then click reverse the check model. And you can check one by one where this unnamed beam came from. So, makikita niyo dito, wala siyang label kasi. Walang label na nakatabi sa may beam. That's why the software set this or name this as a name beam. Okay. For example, okay na, naset yun na lahat or na-check yung na lahat ng quantities. We're gonna export it out to Excel. So, we have the export to Excel function here. Okay. So, in Excel, makikita nyo dito na we have the column, we have the beam, we have the in situ slab, and so on. Okay, so that is for the structural part. Okay, so let's go to, I think, foundation. Okay, the architectural part. So in importing the drawing, just go here sa drawing manager. Okay, and we have the add drawing function. So just click this one, add drawing, and then look for the, say this one, the revised architectural for basic training drawing. So for example, i-relocate ko tong drawing na to papunta sa may axis because dito tayo gumagawa sa axis, right? So, I will just split this one first para mahiwalay siya sa ibang drawing. And then, I will just choose this. We have two options. We can input a drawing name or we can just directly select from the 2D drawing. So, if I click this one, automatically i-read siya ng software sa drawing name. Then, click OK. Then, makikita nyo, may mag-a-add na sub-drawing from the main drawing. So, ito yung in-split natin kanina. And then, if we double-click this one, separated na siya from other drawings. Okay, so in relocating this drawing to our axis, we have the relocate function at the top. Okay, so just click this one and then let me just drag this drawing into our axis. So ito, meron na tayong mga architectural entities dito, such as wall, doors, windows, and so on. Okay, for example, gagawin natin yung wall. Okay, so under the element navigation bar, we have the wall here. Okay, just under the column, meron tayong wall. So we can do wall, curtain wall, so on. So for example, I want to create new wall. Click ko lang to. And then under element is create new wall. So in creating wall, we also have irregular wall and parametric wall. So depending on the shape of the the wall that we have on the 2D drawing. Okay, say this one. So adjust the information in the attribute editor. For example, this is wall 1. Let's just name this as wall 1 first. You can set the category to structural wall, non-structural wall, brick wall, partition wall, and so on. But since we're doing the architectural part, this is not structural wall, but let's just set it as brick wall. So also the material will also be changed to brick wall. Then you have an option to change this if it is interior wall or exterior wall and so on. The thickness, since wala tayong thickness for the wall, right? We can just measure it directly from the software. So under draw, we have the measure distance function. Okay, so just click on this one and I can measure the distance or the thickness of this one. Say this is 150 mm. So I will input the thickness 150 mm. Okay, then after that, I can now draw the wall using the functions here under the draw. Okay, we have the line, we have the rectangle, we have the 3-point arc, okay? We have the, okay, we have by CAD line function as well. So for example, i-draw ko siya using line. Okay. So kung mapapansin niyo, meron tayong mga openings dito like doors and windows, right? This one, doors and windows. So you don't have to worry about that. You just need to draw the wall continuously kahit may mga columns and so on. Tulad lang ginawa natin sa beam. Because later on, the software will automatically deduct these quantities for you. Sa mga openings naman, okay lang din. Dire-diretso lang din yung pag-draw because maglalagay tayo mamaya ng deduction dito using the openings or the from the doors and window detail that we have. Okay, so dire-diretso lang din. Okay. For example, hindi natin kailangan mag-stop sa edge. We don't have to do that because sa mga doors and windows opening, right, yung taas ng door and taas ng and top and bottom ng window, meron pa tayong mga wall doon, 'di ba? May mga brick wall pa tayo doon. Okay. So just like for this one, I will just draw this. Okay. And then click F4 to set the insertion point. Okay. And right click to cancel any commands. Then after that, you can draw the whole. That is the manual way. We also have an auto identification way then to draw the walls. Okay, so in auto identification way, just like the process that we did a while ago, sa columns, sa beams, slab. Okay, we also have auto identification. So let me just delete this. I'm just showing you two options. For example, magkaiba ng may mga drawing file kayong na-receive na hindi naman CAD, right? You can do manual. We can do it manually. So under wall, okay, so just click wall first and under identify, we have this four steps actually. We have the peak concrete or masonry wall sideline. Just click this drop down depending on the wall na i-identify natin. But for this one, since we're doing the architectural wall, let's just choose peak masonry wall sideline. Okay, peak masonry wall sideline. And then the software will ask us to about the entity selection mode. We can pre-select, we can select by layer or select by color. If we select by color, by layer, okay, just click this layer and then right click to confirm. Okay? Then makikita nyo, if we shift to pick layer, yung mga layers ng walls natin ay automatically na-pick na din. Okay, let me just go back to the original layer. And next step that you're going to do is the pick door and window sideline. So say meron tayong, we need to pick the door and window sideline because if not, pag hindi natin pinik yung door and window sideline while auto-identifying the wall, yung mga wall natin ay hanggang dito lang. May mga auto-identification ng software hanggang sa edge lang ng door and window. And we don't want that because meron pa tayong mga brick wall sa top ng doors and windows, right? So we need to pick the door and window sideline. Door and window sideline. So make sure lahat na pick na so that we don't have any um, errors when quantifying. Then pick wall label. Okay, so if you don't have any wall label, we can just skip this process. We can just skip this step. Then we can now auto-identify. So if I click auto-identify, okay, lahat ng wall ay automatically may identify din ng software. So if you look at the 3D view, so we have here all the elements na ginawa natin kanina. We have the wall. So pag tinignan niyo yung auto-identification process ng wall, tuloy-tuloy lang yung dinaro yung wall dito kahit may column. So that's for the wall. And we also have here the doors and windows openings. So in manual way, ang ginagawa natin is we will go to door. Meron din tayong door and window opening dito. Okay? Door and window opening. So if you want to create D5, okay, kiklik ko lang yung door and then under the element list, create rectangular door, irregular door, or parametric door depending on the shape of the door or the detail of the door. Okay, so say gagawin natin yung D5 which is rectangular door. Okay, kiklik ko lang rectangular door. And under the attribute editor, we can change the name of this to D5. Okay. So for the width opening and height of opening, we will refer to the schedule, door and window schedule. Go. Okay, so I will just open my drawing here. Okay. So this is the door, window and door table, and we have D5 here. So the width is 1000 and the height is 2100. Okay, I will just change the width to 1000 and the height to 2100. And you can change the category if it is common door, entrance door, and so on. You can do that. The material as well, you can change whether it's metal, wood, glass, or plastic. Okay, so after modifying everything in the attribute editor, just go to draw. And then we have a lot of options here on how to draw the wall. But the most efficient is this one, the point. Because if you click the point, the software will automatically detect the wall, and then you can just place it on the 2D drawing. Then right click to cancel any commands or the last command. Okay. Then now you can, if you look at the 3D view, okay, so automatically provide ng opening yung software natin for this door or for this wall. Also, we have window here. Let's say we have C5. Okay, same process. Just go to window. Okay, under the element list, create a rectangular window. Okay, for the width of opening and height of opening, let's refer back to the door in window table. So this should be C5, right? This should be 1,800 by 2,100. 1,800 by 2,100. Sorry, 2,100. Okay. Then the height above floor, of course, since wala tayong height above floor sa detail, let's just leave it as 900 muna. Then after modifying everything in the attribute editor, we have the point function. Okay, you can just point this into our in this part here. Okay, then right click, and then if you look at the 3D view, automatically magpo-provide na ng opening yung software. Okay, then after that, that is the manual way. Meron din tayong auto identification process. Okay, sa auto identification process, okay, we need the door and window table. Meron tayong door and window table dito from the main drawing that we have. The software can automatically identify these informations for you. Okay, so let me just delete the door and window first before the process of auto identification para hindi tayo magkaroon ng conflict. Okay. So meron tayong code ng doors and windows dito, and meron din tayong attribute which is the width and height. Okay, so just go to door, and under identify, we have here identify door and window schedule. Okay, so i-click lang tong identify door and window schedule, and at sa hint, to sa baba, sasabihin ng software na select door and window schedule to identify, and then right click to confirm. So isa-select ko lang yung ito, door and window schedule, the code and the width and the height and so on. And then right click to auto identify. Okay, so if you look at this one, automatically mababasa na ng software yung mga codes and yung width and height ng mga doors and windows. But one information is missing here, wala tayong height above floor, right? Para sa mga windows. We can add columns here before auto-identifying. So for example, I want to add column here. Okay, kakopy ko lang yung column na to, and I will just change this to height above floor. So you have to check this pala, the heading, kung tama ba siya sa mga information dito. Okay, this should be name, this should be width and height, this should be height above floor, and so on. For example, may mali dito, you can just click the drop down, then you can adjust it here. Sa height above floor ng doors, I will just set it to 0. All should be set to 0. And sa window, I will set this to 900. For doors, it should be 0. 0. And for window, it should be 900. 900. So, actually, pwede rin kayo mag-import ng Excel file. For example, nagawa nyo na sa Excel itong schedule na to. Meron tayong this one. Meron tayong import Excel file function. So, kailangan lang piliin yung Excel file na ginawa nyo, and automatically, you can do adjustments after importing here as well. Okay, so click identify. Okay, so this prompt will pop up saying that the identified element for door is 9 and Windows is 15. So if you check here sa my element list, diba? Sa element list, in manual way, ginagawa pa natin ito isa-isa. But if you have door and window schedule readily available, okay, pwede natin siyang i-identify, and automatically, i-determine siya ng software. Okay, if you look at the door, meron tayong door codes here. If you look at the window, meron tayong window codes here. The width and width of opening and height of opening is correct as well based on the file that we imported. Then after that, since meron na tayo sa element list, ang gagawin natin next is auto-identify. So let me just go back to the ground floor. Okay. So meron tayong mga doors dito, doors and windows dito, right? And we want to place this doors and windows sa corresponding location, but we don't have to do it one by one anymore. Okay. Since napit na natin yung door and windows natin kanina when we're auto-identifying the wall, okay, next process is pick the door and window label. So if I click this one, pick door and window label, and I will choose the door and window label, ito mga D5, C6, and so on. Then right click to confirm. Then after that, I can use auto-identify function. So I will just click auto-identify, and all of the doors and window will be placed accordingly kung nasaan yung label niya. So in just several seconds, all the doors and windows are now auto-identified by our software. So that is the function of auto-identification and the identifying door and window schedule. Again, we can identify door and window schedule based on the CAD file that we have, but also we can import Excel files. Okay, so explain ko lang din, we have the finishes function as well. Okay, so at the element navigation bar, we have the finishes function. So kung titignan nyo dito sa gilid, we have floor finish, waterproof, skirting, wall finish, ceiling finish, and so on. And all of these finishes can be incorporated inside this room finish. Okay. So for example, meron tayong available file um, for the room finish, meron tayong schedule ng room finish. We can import that to our Excel as well. So I will show you how to import the Excel file. Okay. So say meron tayong wet kitchen dito. Okay. So on the draw, we have the element schedule. Okay. And, okay. First, I need to go to the room first. Kaya nasa room tayo. Then, after that, we have the finish schedule here. Okay. So, we have an import Excel file function. Okay. So, for example, meron tayong finishing schedule readily available. Okay. I can just select this one. Then, the server will automatically read the information based on the Excel file that we attach. Okay, so for the room, okay, ito yung mga room available natin. We have the room, wet kitchen, the utility, and dry kitchen, and so on. And these are the corresponding finish code for each room. We have also different finishes such as skirting, exterior wall finish, ceiling finish, and suspended ceiling. Okay, so for example, na-match natin yung head sa corresponding information dito. Okay, we need to tidy up everything first. For example, hindi na natin kailangan to. Okay, we can just delete this by deleting the row. Okay, and okay. For this one, wala naman siyang heading, right? So, hindi ito ma-identify ng software. Hindi siya ma-identify ng software. So, it's okay na hindi na siya i-delete. Okay, so for example, na-check natin lahat na tama yung floor finish, yung skirting, yung wall finish, and so on. Just click identify. And then, makikita niyo dito sa element list na tayong wet kitchen, utility, dry kitchen, maid room. Lahat ng room from the Excel file that we imported a while ago, dito na siya. So, sa attached element type, for example, for wet kitchen, makikita rin natin yung mga yung mga finishes na naka-attach. Such as floor finish, the skirting finish, the wall finish, the ceiling finish, and so on. Okay, say we want to point this wet kitchen in this specific area. Okay, just go to draw. Parang slab lang din siya. Like, if the area is closed, we can directly point it to this area. Okay, so just click this point and then point it inside this room for the wet kitchen. Okay, so makikita niyo meron tayong purple color dito. Alright, which means this is the room finish. For example, I want to hide the room finish, I will just press R. Okay. So, nandito na naka-attach na rin yung mga finishes from the attached element type. So, meron tayong wall finish, which is W1. Meron tayong floor finish, which is F3. Also, the skirting finish, you can see it here as well, and so on. And as you can see, if there are any deductions or openings, the software will provide finishes for that. So, that is the function of identifying the finish schedule based on the 2D drawing that we have. Okay, so for example, meron tayong casual dining and dry kitchen and we want to separate the finishes of this one. Meron tayong separation line function. So let me just use the separation line function. And I can directly put separation line in here. Okay. And meron tayong separation line meaning with this as area is separated in this area. So if I place dry kitchen here, so mahati rin yung finish natin. And I can now place casual dining here. Oh, sorry about that. Hindi siya enclosed pala because we have an opening here. So if you want to enclose, you can use separation line as well. So just use separation line. And then we have the separation line now, right? And then we can now directly point this casual dining into this part. So ito, na-separate niya yung area na to. Okay, so that's it for the finishes. And also if you want to change the material texture, meron tayo dito sa attribute editor. Okay, we can import different types of material texture that we want to import in our software. Okay, and then the software will automatically detect or place this texture into our software. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Aside from that, we can also do the excavation part or the foundation part. Okay, so let me just go to the foundation floor and I will attach the foundation drawing. Okay, meron tayo dito, meron tayong file cap layout. Okay, and let me just, okay, where are our columns? Okay, so let me just go to the column first. Okay, so we have the foundation here. Okay, so we have the column here as well, right? So we can auto-identify the columns that we have. For example, I'm going to look for C1. Oh, okay. So for example, we have the file cap layout here. Okay, you have the file cap layout and you have the axis here. So we need to relocate the drawing first into our axis. Okay, para mag-align siya. Okay, so for this one, we have file cap, right? So under the foundation, we have this file cap function. Okay, we can also identify this one. Just pick the sideline, pick the label of the file cap, and then auto-identify. Then makikita nyo sa element list, all of the file caps are already identified. Okay, so that is for the file cap. And for example, in the detail kasi we have, under the file cap, we have blinding, right? We have the link concrete. So under blinding, at the element navigation bar, just choose this one, blinding. And then after that, we can create new blinding here at the element list. Just create new blinding. And then meron tayo ditong auto arrange function. Okay, so for example, we want to put blinding in all the file caps na nasa drawing area natin. Okay, just select file cap and then select all, then right click to confirm. And then sometimes sa blinding natin meron tayong mga extension, right? Say we want the client asks us to provide 100 millimeter extension for the blinding. Just create 100 millimeter, then click OK. And then the software will automatically provide 100 millimeter extension for the file caps for you. And if you look at the 3D view, okay, so makikita nyo na the software will automatically place this blinding under the file caps. Okay, so let me just check if the floor settings is correct and the project. Okay. So make sure then na, for example, nag-set tayo ng 83.4 bottom elevation sa my floor settings. Dapat same siya sa my project information. So this it should be 83.4. So it won't affect the calculation for the excavation later on. Okay. And then, for example, after we place blinding, we can now go to draw, and we have here the auto-generate excavation function. So if we click on this one, we have the different excavation type. We have pit, trench, and heavy excavation. Okay, so the information here, the attribute here depends on the information of the drawing that you have, or depends on the information of the project that you have. So you can set the unit depth, the width of working space, and so on. And also the slope, if we have sloping part, or we have the sloping in the excavation, you can also set it in here. Okay, for the generation mode, we can do auto mode or manual mode. For manual mode, kailangan natin isa-isahin yung mga file caps to provide excavation photos. But for auto mode, just click OK, and the software will automatically provide this excavation for you. And for example, tapos na lahat, you can calculate now. So under quantity, we have the calculate function. Or for example, gusto niyo muna makita yung 3D view ng lahat ng ginawa natin, just go to all floors. Just click this one and then click all floors. And then, okay, I will just show the beam and the wall. So this is the 3D view of everything that we did a while ago. Okay. So if you want to view the quantity, just calculate. Then select now because meron na tayong quantity from foundation floor and ground floor, right? Meron na tayong element from foundation and ground floor. Just click OK. Then after that, we have the view expression if you want to check the quantities one by one. Say for excavation, we have um, volume of backfill, disposal, okay, and so on. Kasama din yung mga retaining board, and so on. Okay, so we have the view quantity by category function. So pag kinilig ko to, and then I will select ground floor and foundation floor. Okay, so all of the elements na ginawa natin kanina, from column, wall, door, window, and also the finishes, the floor finish, skirting, wall finish, ceiling finish, suspended ceiling, the excavation part, which is the pile cap, blinding, excavation, and so on. Mag-reflect siya dito. And again, you can set the classification and quantity of the elements here one by one. Then after checking or after customizing the classification and quantity, you can now export all of these quantities to Excel. Just click OK. And in the Excel, makikita nyo na lahat ng ginawa nating elements dito ay i-reflect siya sa Excel based on the customization that we did a while ago nung in-export natin siya. Again, I think that's all for the basic the demonstration for the TIS. Do you have any questions, guys? Hi, sir. So yung configuration pala ito siya. Papakita ko yung configuration. So this is the configuration requirements for our software. For basic one, we have the 8 gig, and for example, yung mga malalaking projects, we have the 16 gig and so on. Yes, sir. Sir. Okay, sir. So, after I attended the basic training for 2 days, that is for 2 days. And then, I applied this software in an actual project by 1 week. And then I can say after 1 week, I improved a lot in using the software. So, in just 1 week, all of the functions in the software, pwede na siyang malaman din. And then, mag-i-improve kayo ulit in just 1 week. And after creating a single project. TS. This is BIM based quantity surveying software which is called Cubicos TAS. stands for Takeoff for Architecture and Structure. For sample installer, we have to ask Frank about that. Pero sir, we have training po on Friday and Saturday, 2 days basic training. And if you want to get to attend sa training, bibigyan po kayo trial license din po, which is I think good for until July if you want to acquire the license. Sir Jeffrey. For students, I think may ibang pricing level lang or ibang functions na available. Pero for the trial, libre pero may expiration din until July. Pero yung, for example, yung lifetime license, I think wala. No, no. This one na ginamit natin ngayon, this is subscription. Pero yung mga yung mga previous version namin, it is perpetual. So depending on your company needs or your preference. Kasi itong software namin, TASTIO, meron siyang Revit function. So this one is the most updated one and the most recent one. So ito yung for subscription. So si Frank po. Apo. No, sir. Unfortunately, I'm not familiar with Autodesk quantity takeoff, but I will look into that, sir. Okay, sir, for steel ratio, automatic siya basta meron tayong information about the steel ratio. Pwede natin siyang input and then we can derive the quantity for that. But for the formwork ratio, it is under development pa po. So, for the formwork ratio, yung ano lang talaga, yung quantity ng ratio, ng formwork for the column scheme and stuff. Yun lang po yung nakuha niya. It can support yung TRB, which is yung sa software din namin. But aside from Revit, we can import IFC files. So, for example, meron tayong iba't ibang software. We need to convert it to IFC files muna before importing it to our software. For Bentley products, sir, I think wala po integration between the Bentley products. Ay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Ay, ipa-plug ko lang din po pala um, yung training namin on 6 and 7, on Friday and Saturday. If you want to attend, just contact me po via link po. For the CAD version, we can support from up to the 2019 CAD version, but for the Revit, we can support 2030 up to 2020 Revit version. Free po siya on Friday and Saturday is free po. And also, it will be part of the competition din po. Qualification din po for competition. Kino-conduct namin siya, sir, via Zoom. Can we connect that to stream? Sir, sige, pag-usapan natin with Sir Frank po. Eh, wala na po. I just want to thank everyone for participating in this event. And sana natuto kayo or nagkaroon kayo ng background on our software. Diyan na lang, sir. Diyan na lang. Okay, no problem. Thank you. Bye. Thank you po.